Now we are going to discuss is tumors of vascular origin. They could be hemangioma, Sturge-Weber syndrome, lymphangioma, arteriovenous fistula, glomus tumor, hemangiopericytoma, nasopharyngeal angiofibroma, or olfactory neuroblastoma. So let us discuss them one by one. The first is hemangioma. So other name of hemangioma is the vascular nevus. It is a benign tumor which occur most commonly in vertebra and the skull. It is characterized by proliferation of the blood vessels. So it is often congenital in origin. It is composed of seemingly disorganized vessels that are filled with blood and is connected to the main vascular system. Now let us discuss the types of these tumors of vascular origin, that is hemangioma. The first is the central type that occurs in bone. So the central hemangioma will occur in the bone. Second is the capillary hemangioma. It is a mass of intercommunicating capillary vessels of more or less size and structure. They could be strawberry hemangioma, port wine stain, or Salmon's patch. So remember that strawberry angioma is a type of capillary hemangioma. Port wine stain is a type of capillary hemangioma. Salmon patch is also a type of capillary hemangioma. Remember it for your MCQ exam. Now the cavernous hemangioma. It consists of dilated blood that contains spaces lined by the endothelium. Next is the arterial or plexiform hemangioma that arise from the arteries. So the arterial or the plexiform hemangioma arises from the arteries. The first is central type. Most of the cases are found in birth or arise at early age. Female to male ratio is 2:1. Origin, they can origin either from the periosteum and resorb the underlying bone, or it occurs within the bone as an anomaly of blood vessels in the marrow space. Now this is the picture of the central hemangioma. You can clearly see this swelling in the jaw that is non-tender, and it is compressible, and in some cases the swelling is bony hard in consistency, and on osculation it is pulsatile and bruit may be detected. So pulsation is seen in hemangioma. On probing there is bleeding from the gingiva around the neck. That is important. Now next is the pumping tooth syndrome. So when we depress the tooth into the socket, it has tendency to rebound back. That is the characteristic feature of the hemangioma. You have to remember it. It demonstrates the pumping action, that is, the tooth is depressed into the socket, it will rebound into its original position within a few minutes, and the syndrome known as pumping tooth syndrome. The teeth in the affected area may be loosened or may migrate. Next comes the Cachabet-Marett syndrome. It is associated with extensive hemangioma in the infants. There is also thrombocytopenia and hemorrhage due to the platelet trapping within the tumor. Now, pumping tooth syndrome and this Cachabet is important. Now the capillary hemangioma. Now, capillary hemangioma. First, we are going to discuss is strawberry angioma. So, age, typical history of red mark is noticed after 1 to 3 weeks of the birth. So, after the first birthday, it regresses in size and its evolution is completed by 7 to 8 years. Subcutaneous tissue as well as skin are most often involved. So, remember it is red mark size. It increases in size, so it is known as strawberry or raspberry like swelling. So it is dark red in color and it protrudes from the skin as a sessile hemisphere. You can clearly see in this figure showing the strawberry hemangioma. You can clearly see that it it is a dark red in the color. You can clearly see this is a dark red and it slightly protrudes from the skin surface and it is a sessile hemisphere. It is noticed after 1 to 3 weeks of the birth. Now next comes the port wine stains. It generally starts at the birth and darkens as the child grows, but it does not really grows. It is most commonly seen on face, at the shoulders, and neck and the buttock. So it is most commonly seen on the face and at the shoulders, neck and the buttock. You can see reddish macular hemangiomas are called as port wine stains. This port wine stain is generally smooth but could be slightly raised. It is seldom more than 5 mm in diameter. Now the color you can see in the figure is deep purple red in color that may become pale later. The color branches readily on the pressure. Now next is the salmon patch. You can clearly see salmon patches are mostly found on the nape followed by glabella and the eyelid. This is the figure differentiating the port wine stain from the salmon patch. So let us discuss. So it is seen over the forehead, occiput or anywhere in the midline of the body. Now let us discuss the radiographic features. It is more common in the mandible. In mandible they are most often within the inferior alveolar canal. They can also occur in body and the ramus of the mandible. Now the margins are well defined and corticated. It may show soap bubble or honeycomb appearance. Now this is important. On CBCT you may see small phleboliths like area. These are small area of calcifications occasionally within the surrounding tissues. So in OPG you can see these phleboliths. These are the phleboliths that are we are mentioning in the red color. So this is important for your exams. Phleboliths are present in they are present in uh, yes they are present in hemangiomas. So OPG shows multiple phleboliths with the erosion of the right angle of the mandible. So this is also that can be seen here. Phleboliths are seen in hemangiomas. Now the management it usually regress after sometimes or sclerosing agents may be given like sclerosing chemicals such as sodium monohydrate, surgery and block resection with ligation of external carotid artery, or boiling water or hypertonic saline may be given. Now, corticosteroids, intralesional injection of corticosteroids can be given. Embolization, introduction of inert material into lesion by vascular route can cause embolization and subsequent regression of the lesion. Now, moving to the questions. Most of the hemangiomas manifest as now remember infantile hemangiomas are rarely present at the birth. So they are seen in 6 to 12 months, and after that they go slow involution. So the answer will be within the first month of life. The vascular anomaly that involutes over a period of time is it is that involutes over a period of time it is, remember, it is hemangioma. The port wine stains are present in, we discussed, they are present in hemangiomas. They are present in which hemangioma? Remember, it is a capillary type of hemangiomas. Now, phleboliths are seen in, we discussed a CT scan that showing phlebolith. It is seen in the cavernous hemangioma. An absolute contraindication for extraction of teeth could be central hemangioma. That is again important. We discussed that central hemangioma shows a bounce back phenomenon. So when the tooth is depressed into the socket, it has tendency to bounce back. That is the pumping tooth syndrome. So that is clinically very important. Which of following conditions? So pulsatile or murmur may be pulsations or murmur may be detected. Now it's the capillary hemangioma that shows the. Now let us discuss the Sturge-Weber syndrome. It is also known as encephalo-trigeminal angiomatosis. So clinical features, the first clinical feature would be port wine stain. You can see clinically the port wine stains or nevus flammeus. It is present at the birth. It represents the distribution of the trigeminal nerve. So it represents the distribution of the trigeminal nerve. The color may vary from light pink to deep purple due to overabundance of capillary beneath the surface of the involved skin. Now it has neurological features. There is angioma, that is excess blood vessels growth present at the birth. The patient is present with the seizures. The patient is present with the seizures, twitching of the small part of the body. Remember, the maximum patients with Sturge-Weber are associated with the epilepsy. So prolonged seizures can cause neurological injuries. The patient may feel weakness on the opposite part to the port wine stain. Remember, headache also can be seen. Now eyes, you can clearly see that there is glaucoma, that is increased pressure within the eye. Glaucoma occurs due to mechanical obstruction of the angle of the eye. If the glaucoma is left untreated, it may result in decreased vision and the blindness. Now this is a CT scan of the Weber syndrome. It may show calcifications. It can demonstrate brain atrophy. Now important, very important is intracranial calcifications that are seen in the birth. Important is what are tram line or track line or trolley tract calcifications in the skull. So that is important, tram line or track line calcifications. Here these are. You can clearly see this is the tram line calcifications that are present in the skull are features of Sturge-Weber syndrome. So treatment should be cosmetic corrections, as port wine stain is unsightly. It should be treated for the cosmetic corrections. Laser treatment should be done to remove the port wine stains. Anticonvulsant drugs can be given to control seizures. Anti-glaucoma medications and dental management. Now next we are going to discuss is lymphangioma. Now what is lymphangioma? It is a benign hamartous proliferation of the lymphatic vascular tissue. It is a hamartoma rather than a neoplasm. In its abnormal, vessels are filled with clear protein containing lymph rather than the blood. So you have to remember, it is a benign hamartous proliferation of lymphatic vascular tissue. So it can be of three types. One is superficial, second is cavernous, third is capillary. Now clinical features, it may be present at age, it may be present at birth with major becoming clinical evident early in the life. Incidence, it may occur alone or in association with the hemangioma. Signs, they are liable to trauma due to these lesions are subject to periodic attack of inflammation that causing the inflammation to become larger. The aspiration yield lymph that is high in the lipid, that is important. The aspiration will yield lymph that is high in the lipid. Now macroglossia is seen, the tongue may be enlarged, that is you have to remember it. If the tongue is affected, enlargement may occur and the term macroglossia is applied. On the tongue you can clearly see irregular nodularity on the surface of tongue with grey and pink grape like projections. Now let us see a picture of lymphangioma. You can clearly see this picture of lymphangioma showing irregular nodularity on the surface of the tongue. Also, it occurs in dorsal and lateral border of tongue, lips, gingiva, and the buccal mucosa. Now, you can clearly see a picture of both lymphangioma. Now, lymphangioma that is affecting the left eye of the patient. And in CT scan of lymphangioma of that eye showing the destructive lesion of the left eye, you can see that. Now diagnosis, laboratory diagnosis, capillary types are composed of thin wall endothelium that are lined channels that are derived from erythrocytes. Cavernous sinus is characterized by presence of dilated sinusoidal endothelium that are lined by vascular channels that are devoid of erythrocytes. Now management is surgical removal or use of sclerosing agent therapy. Next comes the hemangiopericytoma. It is characterized by proliferation of capillaries. So there will be proliferation of capillaries surrounded by the mass of round or spindle shaped cells that are known as pericytes. So there will be proliferation of capillaries that are surrounded by round shaped cells, and these round shaped cells are pericytes. It resembles to the glomus tumor. So another MCQ, name condition that resembles to glomus tumor, that it will be hemangiopericytoma, and it lacks organized pattern and clinical manifestation of pain. So clinical features, there is no sex prediction with age ranging from birth to old age. Site, it can occur at any site in the oral cavity. It is usually painless. And radiodensity, it is a destructive lesion showing radiolucent irregular destruction. So laboratory diagnosis is important. It shows the tumor cells may appear large or small, round or spindle shaped, and show tendency for concentric clearing around the capillaries. Management is by surgical excision. So this was all about the vascular tumors. Now next we are going to discuss is the tumors of the neural origin. The first is neurofibroma or neurofibromatosis. Neurofibroma or neurofibromatosis. So many authors describe neurofibroma and neurofibromatosis as a different entity. The difference between neurofibroma and neurofibromatosis is that the neurofibroma occurs as a solitary lesions without cafe or at spots, whereas neurofibromatosis occur as multiple lesions with cafe olate spots. The other name of neurofibromatosis is known as von Recklinghausen's disease of skin. So it is inherited as simple autosomal dominant trait. So other name of neurofibromatosis is von Recklinghausen's disease. Now origin. The origin is from Schwann cells and axons. And site of origin, there are three sites of origin within the inferior dental canal, in the substance of bone, and beneath the periosteum. Now let us discuss the clinical features. It occurs at any age but is more seen in younger patient. There is no sex predictions. Site, most commonly sites affected are trunk, face and extremities. Appearance, now it will appear as numerous sessile, pedunculated, elevated, smooth surface nodules. So you can clearly see these are the nodules, these are the multiple nodules that can be seen. Now other feature is Lisch nodules. So these are the translucent brown pigmentation on the iris. You can see this brown pigmentation. These are known as Lisch nodules. Elephantiasis neuromatosa. You can see there are some portion of body that grow in greater proportions than other part. So you can see in this figure that there is greater proportion or greater growth. Now cafe or large spots. In addition, majority of patient exhibit asymmetry area of cutaneous pigmentation. So these are the cafe olate spots. These are dark brown macules. Now other important feature is crow sign. That is, you can see these brown spots on the skin in the axilla. So it is a axillary freckling. It is now oral manifestation. They may occur in mandibular canal, buccal mucosa, alveolar ridge. They may produce pain or paresthesia. There are discrete non-ulcerated nodules. Macroglossia, tongue could be enlarged, showing sign of macroglossia. Now radiographic features, you can see area of bone destruction that presents as radiolucent shadow of varying density. The margins are well defined, curved, maybe hyperostotic. Now you can see a CT scan of neurofibroma showing the circular radiolucency with the corticated border. Diagnosis can be made clinically based on pigmented swelling with cafe olate spots that shows corticated borders. In laboratory diagnosis, it is composed of proliferation of delicate spindle cells with thin wavy nuclei intermingled with the neurites in irregular pattern. So management is surgical excision. Now important point to remember for neurofibroma or neurofibromatosis. It is also called von Recklinghausen's disease of skin. It is autosomal dominant trait. It involves Schwann cells and axons within the inferior dental canal. Numerous sessile or pedunculated, elevated, smooth surface nodules of variable size, pigmented skin, elephantiasis neuromatosa, cafe olate spots, cross signs, Lisch nodules. All these are important features. The first MCQ, which of the following lesions are seen in Van Recklinghausen disease of the skin? Which disease will be seen? It will be neurofibroma. Remember, neurofibroma or neurofibromatosis can be other name of von Recklinghausen's disease of the skin. Second question, the cafe olate spots known encapsulation and potential for malignant transformation. The answer will be neurofibroma. The cafe olate spots are seen as a solitary neurofibroma. Neurofibroma is other name of neurofibromatosis. The etiology of multiple neurofibromatosis is the multiple etiology of multiple neurofibromatosis is genetics. Remember that it was asked in your AIMS exam. Now next question, the origin of neurofibroma is probably the origin of neurofibroma. Now the origin is from the Schwann cells and the axons. So it is from the neural cells. It arises from the connective tissue. It arises from the connective tissue sheath of the Schwann cells and the axons. So your answer will be neurons, neural cells. Now leash nodules are seen in neurofibromatosis. Now leash nodules in the neurofibromatosis are seen at the edge of the iris. We discussed that they are translucent brown pigmentation on the iris. So answer will be this. Bifid mandibular canal is somewhat seen in bifid mandibular canal is seen in it is seen in neurofibromatosis. Now bifid mandibular canal is somewhat common in following. The answer will be neurofibromatosis. The crow sign is seen in, we discussed about the crow sign. It is the axillary freckling. That is brown spot on the skin is known as crow's sign. So remember that. Remember that. All are false about the features associated with neurofibromatosis except now this question was asked in another entrance exam. Now these lines are from McDonald's. The most common radiographic findings include increase in the bone density. So bone density is decreased here. So it is incorrect. Increase mandibular angle. So there is decrease in the mandibular angle. So this is also incorrect. Increase dimension of the coronoid notch. So you can see there is decrease in the mandibular angle and increase in the dimension of the coronoid notch. This is correct. And narrowing of mandibular foramen. So there is enlarged mandibular foramen. So the mandibular foramen is enlarged. So this is also incorrect. So the option A is false, option B is false, option D is false. Which one is false? Accept. They are asking from which is false. Accept means which is true. So the answer will be C. Mark that. Schwannomas. It is a benign neural neoplasm of the Schwann cells origin. Now bilateral schwannomas of auditory vestibular nerve are feature of neurofibromatosis type 2. It is a slow growing encapsulated tumor that typically arises in the association with the nerve trunk. The tongue is the most common site for the oral schwannomas, although it can occur anywhere in the mouth. Now, neurofibromatosis 2 is a autosomal dominant condition that is caused by mutation of gene NF2 on chromosomes number chromosome 22 that codes for protein known as myelin. Histological features. An important histological feature is Antony A and Antony B, Antony A tissue. So streaming fascicles of spindle-shaped Schwann cells characterized Antony A tissue. They form a palisading arrangement around a central acellular eosinophilic area known as verrucoid bodies. So these verrucoid bodies consist of replicate basement membrane and cytoplasmic process, whereas Antony B tissue is less cellular and less organized. The spindle cells are randomly arranged within loose stroma, so the tumor cell will show a diffuse positive immunohistochemical reaction for S100 protein. Now treatment, the solitary schwannomas is treated by surgical excision and the lesion do not reoccur.